Good morning, Justin here. It is, well, I should say good afternoon because it is about 1 o'clock in the afternoon it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon on January 20th, 2025. Of course, if you've been living under a rock for these past few days, you've heard that 5 days ago, January 15th, David K. Lynch, has left this world and gone to another place. And so, but today, January 20th, was actually his birthday. He deceased 5 days before his birthday, so this would have been his 79th birthday. So wherever you are, David, happy birthday. And today, I'm actually sort of on a mission. I'm going to take these coffee beans, David Lynch's signature coffee, organic espresso. He signed it himself. These beans were roasted on September 18th, 2017. I actually bought this back during Twin Peaks: The Return, when the hype was all around. It was really an exciting time if you were a Twin Peaks fan, if you were a David Lynch fan. And there were some pop-ups around Los Angeles to make like the Twin Peaks diner, and it was a really cool time. And so I was so excited that, I never had David Lynch's coffee, and I bought this bag intending to roast it and drink it and try it. I never did because I actually don't have a coffee maker, and my girlfriend at the time actually invited me over to try to come brew it, and for one reason or another, we never got around to it. And yeah, these beans, I've just never kept these beans as a sort of memento. I like coffee, maybe not to the extent David did, but I like it enough to want to try it though, but from what I understand, it's probably too old now. I don't think coffee beans are quite like, wine, where it actually gets better as it ages. It is possible for beans to go stale, but I'm actually gonna head over to Burbank, which is where the Bob's Big Boy is. David, if you don't know, David Lynch loved Bob's Big Boy for like 7 years, from the 70s to like early 80s. He would go there every single day, order the same thing every single day. He would get a shake every single day. And that, he didn't have to worry about what he was going to eat the next day. He knew what he was going to eat, and it cleared his mind. And he's talked about this a lot. It's been talked about. And since his there's actually a picture of him hanging up at the Bob's Big Boy. But since his passing, David Lynch fans from, California, but maybe all over the world, have actually traveled and made a little tribute, made a little shrine on the Bob's Big Boy statue of things that David Lynch has liked or expressed liking over the years, as sort of, our final way to say goodbye to this artist who has meant so much to so many of us. What has David Lynch meant to me? Well, for one thing, I got his coffee, and I'm actually wearing my RR shirt I got. So I'm a pretty huge Twin Peaks fan. I'm a pretty big David Lynch fan. I would say, thinking about artists who have impacted my life over the years, I would say the individuals who have impacted my life more than anyone. There's plenty of people I admire, but in terms of like having a direct impact, Walt Disney, then there's George Lucas, and then Steven Spielberg. Again, pretty obvious names. But, ignoring those guys aside, who were childhood heroes, who sort of, captured my childhood imagination and made it go wild. I would say of all the artists in the world, whether it's singers or songwriters or directors or painters or whoever, all things David has actually done, I would say of all the artists, David Lynch has been the biggest influence on my life, more than any other person, living or deceased. There was a time in my life I would have said Kubrick is my all-time favorite director, and he probably still is to this day the greatest film director who ever lived. Kubrick did die when I was a kid. I wasn't exactly watching, Eyes Wide Shut when I was 8. But Disney, Spielberg, and Lucas opened up my childhood world. Lynch opened up my adult world. He really taught me that there's still things in the world after you grow up to really be excited about. That's still magic and wonder and things, there's still things that can surprise you. He really opened up my world. He really communicated spirituality and sexuality, taught me about narrative. He talked me about visuals. There's nobody's films who look better than David Lynch's. No one's. He is the best visualist ever made. You could probably blow up all the images of any one of his films and hang them up on a museum. They're just so beautiful. And he was a one-of-a-kind artist who just spoke to me really more than just about anyone else. He was such an exceptional guy, and as long as people will still be watching movies and enjoying art, we are always going to be appreciating and talking about David Lynch, because that's just how much of an impact he had. I think that enthusiasm, that fan base is only going to grow bigger as time goes on. I saw his videos many times. I, of course, seen all of his films and Twin Peaks. And I've actually got to meet the man. I went to a book signing for his book Room to Dream, which was his biography largely. And at the time I was so excited because I knew this could be my one chance to really meet David Lynch. I wanted to be an extra on Twin Peaks: The Return. That didn't quite happen. I didn't really have the chance to work with him, but I really wanted to meet him, to have that connection with one of my heroes. And I remember getting the book. They asked me, did I want it signed or not signed? And that confused me because I was like, wait, I thought this was a book signing. And then I realized it was for people who wanted to leave early but still have his book autographed. I got the book autographed, but I still wanted to meet him. And I walked up, and at the spur of the moment, I was like, well, could you sign it again? And he looked at me like I was weird. David Lynch looked at me like I was weird. But, after that little moment, he sort of shrugged and then signed it again. So I actually have a book that has 2 autographs by David Lynch. We both laughed about it. I shook his hand. I said, thank you very much. I enjoy your work. So, I was wearing a Twin Peaks shirt, and he said, thank you very much. And that was sort of my only interaction with David Lynch. But it meant the world to me that I got to meet him before he passed. And so I'll always have that connection. But as far as Lynch himself, his work continues to inspire me. His personality, his advocacy for transcendental meditation. There's really not a day that goes by that I don't reference or think about David Lynch on some level. He was like my go-to guy when I think about public figures on film I'd like to be or aspire to be, and like have a career that sort of resembles that. And just a guy that just inspires or even just amuses me. And to think that light is gone, that he's no longer with us, it's sad, but at least David Lynch lived. And in a way, as to quote one of his works, death is not the end. And so I am going to drive all the way to Burbank to sort of drop off my coffee at the shrine at Bob's Big Boy as sort of one sort of last big farewell to the earthly presence of David Lynch, and to sort of have that, to give him the send-off he so deserves more than just about anyone. So Once I turn off this video, I will be at Bob's Big Boy in Burbank. So hopefully that will be fun, and we shall see what the adventure is like. All right, now we are at Bob's Big Boy, and even though it was 5 days ago, it's still very crowded at the statue, which shouldn't be a surprise as it is his birthday. I'm gonna go out, see what it's like. There it is, Bob's Big Boy. Every single day. All these people paying their respects to the one and only David Lynch. I think I can try that. Right here. Oh, what?
Put it to the back, please.
Just the line to get in and order.
Break, to the back, please. Break, 3. Break, 3. Break, to the back, please. Break, 3. Masako,
Okay. Let's do working on it. Okay. Can I get a cup of coffee that I got at least? Did you order or you got your water?
How to get a classic American cheeseburger, and I'm about to get the shake pretty soon. Oh yeah, I'm enjoying the Bob's atmosphere. Shake my day. Oh yeah, shake time.
David, plenty of wine. Nadia, 30 and 2. Nadia, 30 and 2. Straight to the back. Elizabeth, 30 and 4. Elizabeth.
Alright, the neon's on and the sun is setting down. I just will make this quick. I'm very glad I got to be here for one last birthday meal for David Lynch. And I'm glad that I got to see this shrine and help contribute it and see a bunch of fellow Lynch fans, you know, celebrating their love of this exceptional artist we lost. So, but thankfully, death is not the end, and who knows, maybe we'll see David again in 25 years. Wouldn't rule out anything anymore these days, but till then, as David Lynch would always say, blue skies and golden sunshine all along the way.